I have come back to this very place so many different times. And I guess each time I just feel like I haven't done it right the first time, which is my story. Essentially, the why. Like, why am I here? Why am I doing what I'm doing? And it is important to have an origin story because when I do make it and when I do blow up, a lot of people are going to be like, oh, how did she start? You know, how did she, what was her life like? Well, my life is pretty simple. It has been very boringly interesting, is one word to put it. But essentially, I'm just a Nigerian girl who was born in Ireland. Uh, I grew up in a strict household with a very beautiful and loving family. As long as I can remember, I've always wanted to not make money, but be free enough to be able to give back to the people that I love. My love language is gift giving. So I came here at 17 on a scholarship for university, studied law, did my bachelor's, did my master's, got called to the bar last year. So I'm no longer a student anymore. Um, I came here alone. It was very hard to make, although I was in a new environment, it was hard for me to connect with people. It still is. And I do think it's a mindset thing where, I'm operating in such a different mindset than a lot of normal people at my age are, which is just the standard way of life. But I don't want to live the standard way of life. The standard way of life is go to school, get a job, save up, buy a house, get a mortgage, get a husband, get married, have kids. A lot of that I want to do, but a lot of that I don't want to do. And one thing that I always told myself was I do not want to work for anyone. I actually had a job at the law firm. I was an assistant solicitor, paralegal, and in immigration and asylum. It was very interesting. It was my first office job because all the jobs that I did before, like, I was very young when I came here, and a lot of places didn't accept me because of my age. So I ended up working in places for cash, such as, waitressing at different restaurants, like, stuff like that. Um, but this is my first ever sit down job. And it was fun because I got to meet cool people, but I don't want to answer to anyone. I want to answer to myself. I want to be my own boss. I always knew that. That has not changed. That is the one consistent that has been in my life. I don't want to work for somebody else. I want to work for myself. So whilst I was in school, I started business on the side. I've dabbled in so many of things. I've dabbled in trading. I've dabbled in drop shipping, drop servicing, e-commerce, Amazon, the eBay. I was even doing that as more of a hobby until like maybe 6 months down the line, I realized I was basically paying for people to have my stuff. Like I was not good at analyzing anything at that time, but I always had a knack for entrepreneurial stuff. I always had a knack for selling things. It's what I always was drawn to. And then I got into property and I started property sourcing. Then I got into investing in property, more so in the rental side. And then I started working with big investors. And then I started upping the portfolio that I had. However, things weren't going as smoothly as I wanted. It wasn't as consistent as I wanted. And it just got a little bit annoying because nobody talks about the late nights of, working so hard on a deal that is good, a deal that has been confirmed that is good, but you're dealing with unqualified investors, which you can only go as far as to qualify somebody, but it's more so the same thing where you're dealing with them having the fear of moving forward. It's pretty much just the same thing in different fonts when it comes to closing, but we're not just talking about a 4,000, 5,000 pound course. We're talking about multiple 5-6 figures, so it's not small money. And then of course when it comes to the portfolio, I wanted it for cash flow, but I was working a lot more. Like I thought that this was the biggest dream of passive income that was sold to me. And I will tell you now, it's not passive income. Having a portfolio of rental properties, it is nowhere near passive. I don't think I've ever had one. I've only had, in terms of my HMOs, I've only had one tenant out of the literal. I can't even count how many tenants. There's only one that has been quiet as a mouse, and out of all the hundreds of guests that I've had in my Airbnbs, I don't think till this day I've had one that has just not bothered me about something, you know. And no matter how much AI you put into it and whatnot, it's, you know, it's just gonna be something so stupid and ridiculous that you're gonna have to deal with. Um, you know, so it's not passive. And I realized, okay, fine, it's not passive, you know, but there are things that are, because I started investing in stocks and also a little bit of a little bit of crypto, ones that I've researched and I'm pretty confident in and are doing very well. I started that when I was 18, which my portfolio today is up more than 1,000%, which is absolutely wild. So that's doing great. I've dabbled in so many different ventures, but I'm still here and I'm still talking to you and I'm still here writing and talking about my story, you know, because clearly I'm not where I want to be right now. Although I have put my hand in so many different assets and so many different ventures and so many different opportunities. And it's because none of what I'm doing is my calling. It's not a passion. It's just a vehicle to get to a goal that I want. But to get to that goal, I need money. So it's a vehicle to get money. And because money is the interim goal, it never is quite fulfilling. And I'm always weighing it against what it's taking out of me. And what it's taking out of me almost always feels like it's not worth what I'm getting in return, because you can never have enough money, right? So I had to start thinking, okay, so what is it that I want to do? Because I'm someone who comes from parents who are immigrants, who worked hard, who have provided. I'm the oldest in my family. I'm in a country all alone. I have very limited friends. I don't have any friends who have the same work ethic and mindset that I do right now at this age, which is not to say anything bad. It's just I don't have friends who are on the same wavelength that I can call up and say, "Hey, let's make some calls together," you know? It's very difficult to piece together what your life should look like when you know you're good at a lot of things, you've done a lot of things, but nothing really feels like it's clicking for you, because then now you start to ask, well, what is it that I'm good at? What is it I want to do? But you can't kind of answer that. But one thing that I know for sure is that it is undeniable that I have a gift. And that gift comes in many different forms. And one of those forms is helping people see the potential in themselves where they don't see it, and then helping them execute on that potential. Because that's where a lot of us go to live and die, where we know that we have potential, but we just don't know how to execute on that potential to get us the results that we need. I have gotten so many women in front of me who just look at me and they're like, Jade, are you a mentor? Do you teach? Oh my God, you speak life into me. Oh my God, you've made me so confident. But I'm thinking you should already be like that. This should be your norm. It should be your standard. Because every single one of us has potential. Every single one of us has the tools that we need, or has the ability to pick up the tools that we need to get us to where we want to be. We just don't know how to do it. However, because of my experience in so many different business formats and fonts, and my experience with so many different people I look up to, Jordan Belfort, Dan Locke, Samuel Lee, Shane Hendocha, so Shelby, like so many different people in the industry who are doing so well, Tony Robbins. I have gathered so much information, Alex Hermosi, I'm just there saying names. But I've got so much information. I even have information from the best FBI negotiator known to freaking man. And it blows my mind, but there's only so much you can do with learning. And bringing in information, but what about when we're bringing it out? And how do we turn that into attention, which turns into prospects, which turn into money? How do we convert our knowledge and expertise into money? How do we sell that? How do we convert it? That is where people get so stuck, and it's where people don't even know that there is that opportunity, or they don't even know there's a wall there. And I realized that may be my passion. And I'm going to say it now, and I'm saying it now, and I probably said this in my last video, and I'll probably say it in the video to come. I'm going to be one of the best known women in this space. I am going to be so respected because the one thing that I can determine and remove myself from in terms of the rest of the community and the rest of the market is the genuinity that I have in wanting to see people succeed. And when I have said this to people and mentors and people who are doing well in the space, they always come back with the same thing. Oh yeah, but not everybody can succeed. It's only a certain percentage and whatnot. If that's the case, why do you take these people on? Why do we look at somebody knowing that most likely because of their mindset or because of where they are today, they are not going to succeed, but you take them on anyways? Anyone that any consultant, coach, teacher, mentor should be taking on, they should without a doubt have belief in that person being able to succeed and having the ability to succeed. And that's where I differ from. That's where I believe that I will shine the most, because I'm not going to sit here and watch somebody tell me after 6 months in my program that, oh, I haven't gotten results, it's not working for me. What do you mean it's not working for you? That's not even something that's not something that should be coming out of your mouth. And I do think because of the way my personality is, I probably will be a strict consultant, strict coach or mentor. But if that's what it needs to be for me to become one of the most successful women, one of the most successful mentors in this space, if that's what I need to be, I will be that. Because there's so much people out there who have a gift, they just don't know how to convert it. And it's just systems and frameworks is all you need, with the ability to teach your brain that it's okay to sit down consistently and make it work. So that is my story. That's my why. And that is what I'm striving for. And if you're watching this video now, maybe in the future, maybe today as I'm posting this, well, I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you stick around. And it's going to be very interesting, because this video starting from today, it's going to be all in, like just in. And I'm just gonna, have to share my journey as I'm doing it. Who knows? But if any of what I've said has resonated with you and you are a business owner, founder, consultant, and you are struggling to get in a consistent flow of results, it's usually either down to your positioning or your sales process. And if you need help with either, then just get in touch, either on IG or through the link below. See you next time.